Welcome to Remote Reality. Hey, Channel Surfers. We're here with Mama C again for our coverage of Big Brother 27, episode 2. We've got some different takes on this Showergate.
Absolutely, and I know I'm right.
I don't think so. It's about to be a throwdown between Lauren and Mama C.
Remote reality, yeah, that's the key. Unlocking stories wild and free. With the host, side by side. Channel surfers, let's ride.
Let us know in the comments, what side of the Showergate are you on? Team Ashley or not Team Ashley? Man, do you remember in the old days when we would watch Big Brother and it would be weeks before we warmed up to the house guest? We used to say that you'd have to watch it for like 2 weeks before you started even knowing who you like.
Yeah, I mean, they've really jumped right in, and I think it helps that this is the summer of mystery because that draws me in right away. And with all the chaos that has ensued, there's some drama, there's some likability. So I'm really getting into the house guest.
Her editing is getting better into like just pulling us into the season. But yeah, for a second episode, we've got some strong opinions on this house. We've already got some alliances forming. We've already got some people going after targets. I mean, they are ready to pull certain players out. It's game on. We are in the middle of a big game and it's only day 2. But Saturday, sorry, channel servers, I did not post a True Crime Saturday. I've decided we're going to take a little break from that. We're going to have the Big Brother 3 days a week and the 90-day hunt for love that will be coming out tomorrow. So that's a lot. I'm also still running my law firm. Right now, the Koberger trial, that's going to go to the sentencing. We've already got the plea deal. We will cover the sentencing. Diddy trial, that's over. We'll cover that sentencing. I think it's scheduled for October 3rd. Right now, Dateline, they're not coming out with new episodes. If something exciting happens in the true crime community, I'll be there. Right now, it was just hard to even pick something because it's all the stuff I was fired up about. It's taken care of. It's done. But I am fired up about Big Brother.
Well, let's go into the house.
Let's go in the house. Let's see. I'm voting to evict Mama C. She's wrong about Showergate. All right. So we start out with the mystery from last week. Who's the accomplice? And they hit on a lot of things that we had hit on.
One of my thoughts was it was Riley. Because when the night vision lights came on, you see Riley like reaching down to the ground as if maybe he was putting something in his boot or reaching something under the couch.
Mama C and I went back and watched that on like 0.25 speed, and she was right. So when the house started chattering about maybe it being Riley because he had to go pee, I was thinking he might have had something there. We would be pretty good at this game. One of the biggest problems is that we didn't know how this stuff was activated.
Agree. I was sitting there going, well, how much of a clue do these people have? I thought it may have been all activated by one device.
The things we were thinking through, they make logical sense. Like Ava and Will sitting on the benches at the end of the couch. Morgan mentions that Keanu is sitting at the end of a couch. She didn't think about the benches there, but he was also closest to the relic. And that made sense. If they actually physically took it, then yeah, who's sitting close to it would make sense. They didn't know that it just disappeared with the press of a remote control button.
You're right. They didn't know how any of this stuff happened. I didn't even know how any of this stuff happened.
We talked about it last week because that would have changed our minds on determining this.
Well, exactly. Didn't know that the countdown timer only turned off the lights and that a remote was used to make the relic disappear.
Exactly. I mean, we know from past seasons, they don't have control over the lights. They're laying around the house with masks on. So when they say that they're stealing the relic, turning off the lights, you're assuming that they're having to get up to do that when they're unlocking that door. But it all could have been just done with a remote, which that was just making it way too easy.
Well, and I didn't even realize that unlocking the door was part of the accomplice until episode 2. And
right.
I might have missed it in episode 1, but I just thought that Rachel
popped
just
out and
walked in. That's right.
out. So the process of elimination they were using, though, was very similar to what we thought. My top two choices were Will and Ava because they were sitting on the ends of the couch. They were close to the relic. If they had to get up to turn off a light switch, they weren't squished on the couch with other people where people would notice them, maybe get up in the dark and come back if they're on the ends on the benches. So those were my top two. You mentioned afterwards, and we went back and watched Riley, and you're right. The lights go off. You see the night vision come on. He's bent over the couch trying to grab something under the couch. And that's when you and I were saying, well, maybe he was pressing a button under the couch. We were saying with Ava, maybe she's hiding it in her dress. If it's a remote, that's just going to give us a whole different strategy. Then the people that are squished together on the couch all of a sudden become suspicious.
Yeah, and they didn't even realize, they didn't even know how all this stuff happened. And so what did they have to go on? There's really nothing for them to go on except for having somebody had to go pee, somebody's face turned red,
Right.
somebody was seeking alliance conversations.
That's similar to what we said too, because we were like, how is everybody acting? And even Keanu at one point says that one of them was overacting. Riley was overacting. But Riley, yeah, he runs to the bathroom and it's real goofy. He's just kind of like running back and forth and making noises when he's doing it. He's like, So I thought maybe that was a little overacting.
Well, maybe he really had to go.
Do you make noises when you really have to go?
That's too much information.
Never seen you do that. Anyway, that was Zay's argument. Riley ran from upstairs to go to the bathroom because he had let the secret person into the house. Now, Riley, he says that he saw Zay's face turn red. So I don't know if Riley heard Zay talking about him or Zay heard Riley talking about him, or if they really just suspected each other. I almost had the feeling that one of them was throwing the other under the bus because of the suspicion.
Well, I just thought it was really funny how all of a sudden Riley's like, why is my name coming up on this? When I look somebody in the eyes, I tell the truth. They don't know me. And I'm sitting there going, well, hello, you don't know anybody else in the house either, yet you're making accusations that it could be somebody or guesses, and they could be telling the truth as well. You don't know them. So I just thought that was a little bit
position to take in Big Brother, especially when we've seen Vince look Jimmy in the face and say, hey, bud, I'll toss it to you. And then turn around and tell Diary Room, nah, just kidding. I'm going for that HOH. So that's part of the game. Riley, get your head in the game, bud. So yeah, it turns out Lauren was right. Lauren tells Mickey it's probably a girl because we have 9 women, 8 men. So it'd probably be an even house, 50-50. And somebody on TikTok, one of our channel surfers, pointed that out. Another person pointed out that it might be Adrian. And I went back and watched it, that he was doing some suspicious stuff too. He went and it looked like he was pressing a button in the kitchen when Julie said, hey, come to the living room. So I think the channel surfers had some great ideas. We're seeing a lot of the ideas repeated here, but the channel surfer that said it's probably a woman, that was it. And Lauren says it's probably not even someone we're thinking about. It was Amy. It was sweet Amy, sweet, talkative, doesn't pay attention to much Amy.
Well, I started thinking that maybe the loudness just got people off of her, even though you would think it'd be the opposite. They'd be paying more attention, but maybe it was driving people away from her in order for her to be doing all this stuff.
Or maybe they were thinking, well, it's not her because she would have tried to lay lower, which if you're loud, you can't help it. There's no laying low. Jake, he'll try to have his secret from Rob. Like, I'm going to go upstairs and eat these snacks. But he whispers so loud. He's like, Mom, don't tell Dad, but we're going to go upstairs and eat some snacks. Like, he can hear you. Very cute. So I think that this is going to continue to create suspicion in the house. They know that it's not Riley, so maybe they're starting to get the idea. This guy, you can look him in the eye and he's going to be honest with you. So that could help Riley. It might piss Riley off against about 11 at the house cast because the vote came back 11-5, Zay and Riley. Now, for some reason, they think it's not Zay, which I didn't get why they thought that. It could be Zay. I don't know. And
could be anybody.
Could be
But
anybody.
the thing that really got me was I was like, oh my gosh, Amy's children are watching this and they are probably jumping up and down and screaming because they're just big, that their mother is part of this big twist.
Well, I'm even more excited about the alliance that she forms as we get into this episode. But yeah, next up, they're going to introduce themselves. Rachel comes out first. She needs no introduction, Rachel Riley. Everyone knows who she is, but she stands up. She takes it first. Now, there's some interesting stuff that happens during the introductions. We've talked a lot about the players. We did the preseason guesses where we read the bios and looked at the pictures and kind of guessed our preseason wins. And then last week, we talked about the entries. One of my favorite parts is where Will is talking about his podcast, and he says, so I cover sports, specifically ladies college basketball, even more specifically the University of South Carolina Gamecocks. And then Catherine from Columbia goes, go Cox. So maybe you're right. You're like, maybe she'd be wearing the Cox shirt, but she did say go Cox. I don't think if she was one of them orange Clemson fans, she'd be saying that. No hate. We're a split house over here at my house. My husband is all Clemson. So I thought that was fun. Go Cox. Did you say go Cox?
Me, no.
I did. All right. And then Zay is looking over at, Ava is looking over at Zay. And she says that he looks like he could be a perfume model or a cologne model. So, Mom, that was kind of what you were thinking, like a magazine model, like an underwear model.
Like an underwear model, yes.
And they said he's a solicitor, which in South Carolina, that's what we call our district attorneys, our prosecutors. We call them solicitors. So it took me a minute. I was like, wait, he's a solicitor? He went to, and no. He sells stuff. Gotcha. But she sees his aura, and she says his aura is light blue, and that means that he is a smooth talker. Now, I went to the Googles and looked up light blue aura. I did not see where it said smooth talker. It said he could be sensitive, that he would have wisdom and neutrality. He would have honesty and integrity, humanitarian values. So it maybe Google's wrong, or maybe it just means everything under the sun. What did you think about these introductions? Any special moments for you?
Okay. So I had to crack up. I cracked up laughing when Keanu got up and said he was a dungeon master. And Mickey looked so excited. She said, oh, this sounds so appropriate. And then he says, Dungeons and Dragons. And I just thought that was hilarious.
It's something naughty.
Yeah.
Yes. Mom was like, it's what they do in dungeons, Lauren. I was like, what, are we quartering them?
No, I'm not going to speak of
anything
the deed
in dungeons unless I am playing Zelda.
Okay, obviously you haven't read any romantic novels.
Obviously. No.
Yes. The ones with the men without any shirts on the covers.
Sounds like Zach in this house with his shirt unbuttoned. No, the only thing I do in dungeons is kill bokoblins and moblins. Hinox. Anyway, yeah, sorry to disappoint Mickey. But you know what? That probably is very exciting for Morgan to have another gamer in there. What else?
Well, Ashley said, it's what she didn't say. She didn't say that she was an attorney or went to Georgetown. And that is no surprise because that would have put a large target on her back.
Very smart. Very smart. I went to law school with a guy who had gotten his Juris Doctor already at Georgetown, but he was getting his PhD, and he was able to take law school classes for his PhD as well. Super smart guy. So she says she's a social media manager, which I thought that could be pretty intimidating too. That means you have a good social game.
I mean, I don't know how that would apply with the web designer or the guy who, or Jimmy, who was fired from, whatever he was doing from Twitter, he said.
Fired off of that.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know if that's something that if they start talking that they'd find out that maybe she's lying, but hopefully it's not going to get that far.
That's a good point. And maybe she thinks she can just make it up as she goes along because everyone has social media, but I don't know how that's going to work.
Right. A manager would be a little bit different.
A little bit different. Now,
I was going to say, and so now, did we talk about Amy already wanting to be a matchmaker? Oh my gosh. I'm like, this is the mama of the house. She sees these beautiful people and she wants to get them hooked up because she loves love.
It becomes part of her strategy. Interestingly, this becomes a twist in the game. Catherine, when she looks at Riley, she's like, I've never seen anyone so country, and I'm from the South. Now, I lived in Columbia a long time. I live in South Carolina. I've lived here a long time. You've lived here a long time. I've maybe seen people this country, but that's like in the deep South. That's not really in South Carolina. I mean, there's probably some places in South Carolina that are pretty deep South.
Well, what about your dad?
He's from North Carolina. That is deep South. You know what? I saw this episode where this guy goes to the deep South and he's talking to this guy who's giving him a tour of this small town. And this guy left for 40 years to go be a welder and then came back to retire. But you meet his family. Now, they pick cotton. They're talking about how they used to go out in the fields and pick cotton. They talk about farm sharing. They're like, man, it's like a whole different world. They're eating chicken gizzards and raccoons. And I'm just like, well, I know my granddaddy ate squirrel brains. They eat chicken gizzards all the time. I was like, that just sounds like the Clark side of the family. And then there's one where they go to Ocracoke, and that's where great granddaddy Blackbeard died, apparently.
No, that was supposed to be your 7 times great grandfather.
11,
according to your Aunt Pam.
Yeah, I thought it was farther back than that, but
no, I thought it was 7 times great grandfather. But whatever,
somewhere back there.
I don't believe it.
One of my friends, though, one of my attorney friends, moved to Ocracoke for a while. Now he has moved to Europe. He's in Lisbon. Anyway, he has moved over to Europe now, but he loved Ocracoke. All right, ADHD. We are going back on track. So Rachel, because she was the last person in this house, there's no beds left, Mom. What are we going to do?
Well, we might have to open up. I think it was 1313 room. I'm not sure, but it was the have-not room.
The have-not room, which Ava says it looks like a jail cell. Now, it doesn't look like any jail cells I've seen. What about you?
I thought it looked like a crime scene because it had the chalk outline beds, which are probably the worst, most uncomfortable beds they've ever had in Big Brother.
I agree.
And in evidence bags, I saw a rope and a wrench, just like from the board game Clue.
So we're checking more things off our Clue box.
That's right.
And there were evidence bags. So to me, it was a mix between a crime scene and an interrogation room, because you see those two-way mirrors, which likely are where the editing cameras, they're coming from behind those mirrors. But in an interrogation room, you're also going to have those two-way mirrors. You also have the table, which it has a chalk lining on top of it, but you would have a big table like that in an interrogation room. You would have those lines to see how tall the suspect is. So yeah, this was like if a crime scene happened during an interrogation. But a jail cell might have been a little bit more comfy. They would have had bunks, would have had at least some sort of mattress. They wouldn't be sleeping on a chalk line. They would have had a toilet to use in front of everybody. So
yeah, it's one of the worst, best rooms that they've ever had.
Now, I thought it was really neat how it was black and white and gray. It looked like you were walking into the first part of The Wizard of Oz. Like everything was in black and white, but the people were still in color. So that very monotone design, it just looked really neat on camera.
Yeah, it was like an old-time movie.
I liked that. So being a have-not, it's got its downsides. You've got the slop. You've got the cold showers. You've got the sleeping on chalk lines. But it's coming with a perk this week. And that perk is you can't be nominated. So if you're Rachel, you're the first one. You have to pick the next person. That person has to pick the next person. That person picks number 4. can't be nominated this week. What do you do if you're Rachel?
Well, she goes for who she thinks is her biggest fan, and that is Will. And then she was a little bit disappointed when she says, well, who are your favorite house guests? And he said, oh, well, winners. And he mentioned Dr. Will. He mentioned somebody else. Yeah, Dan. And he mentioned her third. She was a little bit miffed.
Well, she says rule number 1, you always pick Rachel first. But what did you think about her strategy? So she said, who wants safety? And then she picked Will from the people that raised their hand because she knew he was.
And I was surprised that not everybody raised their hand.
Well, this is what I'm wondering. You're safe from nominations. Are you safe from going on the block after a veto?
Yes.
Okay, so you're safe for the week.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. Yeah. And so, and she wanted to pick somebody who she already thought she could work with because he was a super fan.
That's smart.
Why he picked. Yeah, so I thought that was smart.
They both had red on. I was like, oh, all the people in red.
Okay, wait a minute. If you've noticed, there were it seemed like half the house guests were wearing red. And not only that, Ashley wore a red dress the first episode. The second one, after the next day when she had taken a shower and gotten dressed, whatever, she had on another red dress. So I don't know if that's the only thing she had or are all her clothes red.
I have a red shirt on now. If you're watching on YouTube.
It looks purple.
Maybe that's just in style.
That's your Gamecock shirt.
No, it says no problem, llama. I don't know. Just a t-shirt I have. Anyway, so I thought that was pretty smart of her to ask and to frame it that way, who wants safety. And she got a lot of people that were shooting their hands up. That was very smart. Will goes up there. He's looking around. He sees Zach with his hand up. Zach played baseball. He was talking about how he might be drafted to the Savannah Bananas, which I feel like some of my friends have gone to that, and they're kind of like the Harlem Globetrotters. That might be totally wrong, but for some reason, from what I remember, they said the Savannah Bananas are like that. They're like goofy. I might have been to a Savannah Bananas game once against the River Dogs in Charleston. It's been a while. I've lived here a long time. Anyway, so he says, yeah, sports broadcaster. We got an athlete. Seems like somebody I'd get along with well. Let's ask Zach to come over. Now, Zach, last week he tells us his friends said he was going to be a simp when he goes into the house. My mom and I don't know what simp means. I am a Zennial. You're a boomer. We are not, what is it, Gen Z that's saying this? Am I even on the right generation? Gen Alpha is Jake. So anyway, simp, it means a guy that is desperate, that will basically do whatever in kind of a desperate, goofy way to get a girl. And we start seeing that in this episode.
Yeah, he was like looking at Lauren. Her hand was raised. She was waving it. And he's like, oh my gosh, I really want to get to know her well. And this might be the opportunity. And then his eyes drift over to Ava. And she's got these little puppy dog eyes. And so
she looks
he
like a dog that kicked to the curb and is sitting in the rain. She's like,
he felt sorry. He was simping over a poor little.
Oh, I don't think he was trying to impress her. I don't think he wanted to be the bad guy.
Oh, that's true.
So he was like, oh gosh, I got to get this puppy dog out of the rain. Come on, puppy. It's like,
go into the have-not room.
Come into the have-not room. But if he really wants to get to know Lauren, the only way to guarantee she'll be there next week would be to pick her.
That's true.
So, so simp. So they go into this have-not room, and Rachel is talking to Will. This is where he doesn't say Rachel first. And then it doesn't seem that Zach really knows how Rachel met Brendan, her husband, that it was on the show. He was a little surprised by that. And she was like, yeah, we met, and then I won Big Brother. So he gets really excited. He's like, yeah, I can $100 or $1,000 and 5 love. Like, this game is wholly new for me. This is what I'm doing. Well, here's the problem. Rachel did not win the money on the season that she started her showmance with Brendan. It puts a big target on your back. So because he didn't know that maybe his strategy is a little bit skewed here. Now, Zach, sweet little Zach, we go into the diary room and he walks in and there's an envelope on his chair. Probably a good thing since he's such a simp. Like, good thing that envelope is there. What happens?
Well, he opens it up and it says that he can use that $10,000 he won to take himself off the block, and he gives it to the HOH. So he's bribing the HOH.
Or he's just taking their HOH over and giving them money.
That's true. But you know what? I thought that was the best. I really thought that was the best twist because of the 10K. But you know what? It's still a great twist because if you're going to be maybe leaving the Big Brother house, you can pay $10,000, stay in and win 750,000.
Yeah, especially if you're getting toward the end. I mean, at any point in the game, but especially if you're getting toward the end, imagine Zach being there in like the top 4 and pulling that out.
Well, and I don't know. I mean, I've looked online for different reality shows, and I think the longer you stay in the game, the more money you might win.
Yeah, a lot of those contracts you get paid. But I think in Big Brother, once you get to jury, you're getting paid as well because you're being isolated in jury. You're just not getting paid as much.
So, I mean, it depends on how badly he needs $10,000.
It reminded me of the coup d'etat from season 11, where Jeff, he had this secret power that America voted on. So America got to pick who got the secret power, and he got the coup d'etat. What it did was it allowed him to, at the very end, right before votes, it allowed him to pull one or both nominees off the block and replace them. And they were all gunning for him at that point, every single one of them. And Jeff goes up there, pulls them off the block, puts 2 new house guests down, and gets Jesse out of the house, which that one was one of Riley's favorite players. So this reminded me of the coup d'etat, except the house guest here doesn't get to replace the nominees. He just gets to take himself off. The HOH has to put another target on his back to throw someone up at the last minute. So, Vince
is not going to Vince wouldn't like that if that was done this time, but it's not going to be.
Vince
didn't like to have to put up 3 people.
Well, and we'll get to it. I have to agree with Amy, though. I don't think it was a very strong strategy, but alliance roundup. So we're starting to see some alliances form. We've got the triple threat, Jimmy, Morgan, and Mickey. So Jimmy said he felt early chemistry with Morgan. Morgan really trusts Mickey. So, hey, let's just get us all together.
Well, you know what? And he's funny because he is talking about an alliance of 4, which would be Zay, Zach, Riley, and Keanu. And that's only 4 people. Here he's got himself, Morgan, and Mickey. And then before the HOH competition, he had Kelly, Ashley, and Vince, where they said they wouldn't vote for each other,
now, that
or put each other in an alliance. Kind of like an alliance as well.
Well, that was more of just like an immunity. So because they were all playing for HOH, Vince, Jimmy, Ashley, and Adrian.
Kelly, or I don't know. Maybe I got my notes mixed up. Sorry.
I think it was Adrian that played in that had a household competition, but they all decided since we're playing, we will not put each other up, and they made that promise.
But you know,
strategy with everybody.
Well, he has, and he even said he trusted Vince and that he could work with Vince.
So, is it too much too soon?
Yes.
Is it a triple threat because it's him, Morgan, and Mickey, or is it because he's sitting there making deals with everyone in the house on week 1? I think he's playing a little too strong. And he is gunning for Rachel. He wants her out of there. He doesn't care that she's mad that she has to sleep in the have-not room. She's got immunity this week. Next week, getting promised. This week, she's got immunity. Next week, he's getting her out. So he's targeting a very strong player. He's putting targets on the backs of the big, strong guys, but not in like a smooth way, in a pretty direct way. He's not smooth.
No.
I like Jimmy. He's got a great smile. He's pretty. I don't know that he's going to be here for long. but he's definitely entertaining. So it'd be nice if we do see him for a while. Now, my favorite alliance right now is the Mama Squad. I love Amy.
Yeah, I mean, I like Amy and Rachel, and I love the fact that they're bonding in their little mother things. But I love how Rachel, you could tell she's a seasoned player because she's going, oh, let all these young people have their showmances. Let them get all into that and forget about us. She says, when I was in my alliance with Brendan in my first season, I was more involved with Brendan than with playing the game. She says, let them do that.
Stop caring about the game. She was all about that showman. And she also said, let's try to get these big muscular guys against each other. Because Amy, are you any good at competitions? Well, Amy's only done one competition so far toward the head household, but she holds up her arm. She's like, nope. And she puts her little flap up, and then Rachel says, yeah, I've got arm flap too. And then they start flapping their arms like a gamecock, like a chicken. So I thought that was pretty funny. And they're both really excited to like hang out with each other. They both have a very similar energy. I really like Rachel and Amy together. And, you know, Rachel, when she was talking about Brendan and they were showing clips from the season where he was talking about being her knight, I remembered why I wasn't a huge fan of her in her first season. So it was so obnoxious.
Why is that?
It was so obnoxious, her and Brendan. They were. It wasn't a cute showmance like Jeff and Jordan. It was
all she did was cry, and then he had to try to keep her from crying, and it was all like boosting. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah, but I do like her in this season so far. Like you said, Jimmy speculates that the 4 muscular guys are going to join an alliance. He says every season, the big guys get together. I think he actually tells that to Vince, but he's speculating that you're going to have Keanu, Zach, Zay, and the 4th one I had trouble remembering earlier because he's not really muscular. It's Riley.
Yeah, but you know, he's got to be strong to ride a bull for a long time.
He's also very tall. So the shorter you are, the easier it is to build bulk muscle than if you're taller. So he thinks that that could happen. And I don't disagree. All 4 of them immediately started thinking that Zay was the accomplice. So that's 4 of the Zay folks. Who do you think?
4.
Oh,
shoot.
shoot.
The 4.
No,
yeah,
you're
because Zay is the 4.
All right. Something was making me think that they all were together. Maybe it was the Ashley Gate, which we'll get into. That's it. It was the Showergate because they're all trying to throw Ashley under the bus for nominations. Right. And we're going to get to the Showergate now. Yeah, Showergate. Apparently, we're going to have very different opinions on this, Mom. So let's just break it down before we get into our opinions. Let's try to do this neutrally so they can't guess which side we're on, although I may have already said some things to indicate. Anyway, Showergate. So it all starts with the HOA room. Hey, everybody, come on down, see my room. Vince has got his keys. He's shaking them around. Everyone follows him up the stairs. And they go up to this beautiful, what I think is this royal-looking HOA room. It has HOH room. I say HOA. I deal with HOAs a lot in my law practice. Sorry, if I'm saying HOA, I mean HOH. I'll try to correct myself. Anyway, it has red walls. It has this like secret door. It's giving me kind of castle vibes. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, there was black and white. It was very elegant. And then the hidden door was the fireplace, and you open it up and it goes into this big HOH bathroom. It was a beautiful suite.
And you know what? Vince, he's like, this is awesome. I usually sleep in my kid bedroom at my parents' house. I've got a whole suite.
Yeah, I'm sure this is not like Mama's house.
But he's very nice. He's like, yeah, y'all come up here anytime you want to. Use the bathroom if you want to. Very welcoming. Just invites everyone up, which that's not uncommon. A lot of people, especially early on, they kind of do have an open door policy.
Yes, so, but not right away. And I'm going to be neutral. Never mind. Lauren says, can I use your shower? And he's like, yes. She goes, it's only going to take 10 minutes. 2 hours later, she's still in the shower. And he still hasn't been able to use the HOH bathroom. He can't go to sleep, because she's in there. And so I thought it was kind of rude.
offered. She even asked after he offered. Time got away from her. What else does she have to do? Maybe she decided she wanted to shave her legs or something. You know what? I don't usually shower before I go to bed. I'm like, just go to sleep, dude. No big deal. But if you really wanted to shower, just go downstairs and take a shower in the regular shower. Why all this drama about it? He offered, she asked, he went in there. I don't see the big deal.
Because she was not, she didn't consider him. She only considered herself. It was a very selfish act.
Well, she asked him, and she didn't know how long he's staying up or if he's really tired.
I know, but who takes a 2-hour shower at home? No one.
No, it takes me like 10 minutes.
No one. And you know what? Unless you have one of those water heaters where it constantly heats up the water, my water heater tank would be gone in like 30 minutes.
Well, I have the little one that's on the wall that heats up the water. Maybe she had to poop. Maybe she was constipated and she had the shower running and she was pooping.
Okay. No. No. But we can go on and talk about.
It's night one. So I didn't think it was a big deal. He offered, she asked, and he said, go ahead. I don't know what she was doing in there. Maybe she had diarrhea. We don't know. But he offered, he could have gone downstairs and taken a shower. I don't think it was a big deal, but the whole house is gossiping about it. Most of the people are downstairs talking about it as it's happening. So I'm guessing Vince has probably gone downstairs to complain to them about it. How did they find out before she was out of the shower?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Now, Ashley finally gets out of the shower and she comes down in her pajamas and Catherine makes a remark to her.
It was a joke. And you know what? But jokes aren't funny unless they have some truth to it. And so it was a joke, but it was probably more of a dig for Ashley.
Because did he shower first? How is that funny? Explain that one to me because I'm missing the humor in it.
Well, you know what? She just wanted to point out or just point out that she was being.
How? Dude offered it up. He was like, yes, go ahead.
Nobody offers it up for 2 hours. 10 minutes, okay. But not for 2 hours. He's a guy. He doesn't get in. He probably gets in the shower and comes out.
Well, that's what I do. So then why not just go downstairs and shower?
Because he also needed, that's what she should have done. It wasn't her HOH.
But he offered. And if you're only going to go in for 10 minutes and you really want to go to sleep, just go downstairs and shower. You offered it.
He wanted to go to sleep. He wanted to sleep. She was still up in the shower for 2 hours.
So he didn't want to be asleep when she walked out.
Yeah, I guess so.
I did not think it was a big deal. It just seemed petty. Like, I don't know. I just go downstairs and take a 10-minute shower. Don't shower. I don't shower. Just jump in bed and go to sleep. If you're tired, if I'm tired, there's nothing keeping me awake. Like last night we were going to record this when we watched. I was sleeping in the recliner.
But you're talking like Vince is being petty. Vince wasn't being petty. He wasn't the one being petty. It was the people downstairs. Like I would sit there and think she's being very selfish and not considerate.
But how did they find out that he wanted to go to sleep and she was in the shower? And he offered, he said it was okay. And what ends up happening at the nomination ceremony to me was, I don't know, agree to disagree. I'm Team Ashley on this. And I don't even like Joe.
Because when he was talking individually to each house guest in the HOH room, she came in like 5 times. He said 10, but he was probably exaggerating. But she would come in. I want to talk. Well, I'm talking to somebody right now. She leaves. And instead of waiting in line, she carries her little self somewhere else and does something else she wants to do, then comes back in, knocks on the door. Somebody else is in there. She kept doing it. She was not cognizant of anybody's privacy, was not courteous to anybody. And then finally she says, look, I really want to go to bed and I want to talk to you. Oh, well, let me drop everything I'm doing, Ashley, because you are so important.
Well, where was the line? I didn't see a line outside.
Well, you didn't see anything outside, but everybody else got it. Why didn't she? Unless it was the editing.
Well, I'm thinking that he's sitting there thinking about putting her on the block, and he's talking to people and he's just like, I'm not ready to talk to her yet. I'm not ready to talk to her yet, and kept sending her away. And she's paranoid because people are sitting there saying things like, well, did you let him shower first? Obviously, there's a lot of talk about her. People confirm it. Zach goes up and confirms. People are talking about you. Amy goes up and confirms. People are talking about you. Now, she automatically presumes that it's Catherine that's saying everything, because Catherine's the one that walked through and opened her mouth, put her nose into the business where it didn't belong, and said, did you let him shower first? You know what? You're not the shower police. Let him figure out his own problems. But so she thinks it's Catherine. So she goes up to Catherine. She's like, look, let's just take care of this. Are you upset with me because I didn't let him shower first? And she's like, no, it's not a big deal. Now she's getting frustrated because this is the only person who said anything to her face. She doesn't know the rest of the house is talking behind her back, but she knows other people are telling her that they're hearing things. So she thinks that Catherine is lying to her. And Ashley, she just doesn't know. So she starts defending herself. She's like, look, like, he said I could use it. Like, I hope that we can just like put this behind us. If you're upset about this, I don't want this to be a thing. Which she's like, I don't want this to be a thing. But then Catherine makes it into a thing.
Well, I think Ashley made it into a thing too. And I just love how Vince caught on to this. Like, why is she so paranoid? Does she not trust me? We did this. Again, it comes down to, you don't know anybody in this house. You only know the game, and you only know that people lie to you.
Well, so, it's one, and she took a shower and is getting all of this feedback that the house is talking about putting her on the block.
Well, there you go.
And does she trust him? It's week one, and nobody should trust him. Not even Jimmy, who he sat there in diary rooms and was like, yeah, I don't care. I'm going for it. I'm not tossing this game to him. And she absolutely should not trust him, because what we find out is that he made that promise with Ashley and Jimmy and Adrian that he would not put them up because the four of them were playing HOH. And he goes back on that promise.
Right, because she's annoying, and he doesn't trust her now because she doesn't trust him.
No, because the whole house sat there and found one thing that they could make a case for, and it was against a weak player. So all of the strong guys are like, look, I can get the target off my back by throwing her under the bus for taking a shower and irritating Vince. And everybody else jumps on that same bandwagon. They're like, okay, we got something. You got to go on. You got to have some sort of reason for this. And even though he's made this promise, he just throws that promise right out the door. And it's all, if he wanted to keep that promise, all he had to say was, no big deal. She showered for 2 hours. It doesn't really bother me. And then he could go after a strong player, not a girl because she showered.
No, I agree with all of his nominations. Zay being the least of what, but he was like, well, he was thought to be the accomplice. We don't know who the accomplice is. I'm just going to put him up. And then Ashley, for what I think she should have been put up for, Showergate. And then Amy, because he finds out that Amy and Ashley are very close.
So he's like, he says,
yes.
I wouldn't put her up for showering, but you know what? I wouldn't put someone up for showering either. I totally agree with her. Like, get your head in the game. There are some strong players here. Make your HOH count. But he's playing it safe.
But if you had to be in that house 24/7 with no TVs, devices, or anything like that, and had to be stuck in a house with a person who is inconsiderate.
Shower, and then when they asked again, said that they could shower, and then you decide to be a little whiny.
But it's not just a shower. It was also about interrupting and not caring about anybody else but yourself.
Talking about her behind her back. Nobody was going to her face with it.
Well, can we move on to a choice which I thought was funny? Here, Kelly is talking and saying, when she was talking to Vince one-on-one in the HOH, she's like saying that, not to him, but saying, well, my family and my friends, they're just not going to approve of this. Whatever. They're going to be so disappointed. I'm like, oh my gosh, is she going to make a proposition to Vince to keep her in the house? And then it was, no, surprise. You can put me on the block.
Yeah, which I agree with Vince that it's never a good idea to put yourself up as a pawn. But really, if you're going to, this would probably be the lowest. This week would be the lowest risk. Also, she's got 2 chances to fight to save herself. She hadn't really done anything to piss anybody off.
But, it could have also been like a red flag to everybody. Like, what did Kelly do that Vince would put her up? And then they were like, oh, they're maybe working together. Let's get her out now.
Well, you think they think he's working with Kelly or Zay?
Oh, no, he could.
Now, Will, he also suspects that there might be a strong guy alliance forming. He sees the bro alliance working out in the yard and he's just sitting there with the ladies. He goes, 30 years ago, I would have done that. I'm not going to pull a muscle now. And then he made a good point. He's like, look, all you're doing is just showing these house guests your physical strength. I'm an Army vet. This guy absolutely was in shape at some point, probably still in better shape than a lot of those house guests, but he's not going to go around advertising that.
Okay, they're already advertising it. They've got muscles out the gazoo. I mean, you don't get them by just laying around and being weak. So it wasn't a very good.
Well, Morgan is very muscular. She's not advertising it. Will, it has a lot of strength. He's not advertising it.
Yeah, but women, their muscles are a little different, and she probably can cover them up with sleeves or whatever. But the guys, I mean, really, look at Keanu. I mean, I don't know. He looks like he has concrete bags for arms.
I thought that was a good point for Will. So at nominations, Mario Vince puts up Zay. Did he say it was because he said it was because he hadn't talked to him much that week. That was his reasoning. We haven't really had a chance to talk game. Okay. And then he puts up Amy and he's like, I don't want you to go home. I really like you. That was a hard decision. Which, if you didn't want her to go home, like you don't want Kelly to go home, you just wouldn't have put her up. You just don't care. And then with Ashley, he goes, it's not about Showergate.
Again, I told you, he wasn't as bothered by the shower as the other house guests were, but he was bothered by her coming in constantly and interrupting and just, acting paranoid.
Well,
that's what put her in there.
Everyone was talking behind her back. Anyway, if I were Ashley, my next move is to blow this up at the house. I'm going to let the whole house know that Vince sat there and promised me immunity. And I'm going to try to get Zach and Adrian to, they're probably not going to want to piss him off, but I'm going to try to trap them so that they know this was promised and he's already gone back on a promise.
It was Jimmy. I think Jimmy, wasn't it Jimmy who was in the competition? Jimmy, Adrian, Ashley, and Vince.
So I would try I would let them know that promise was made and broken. He's already breaking promises on week 1. You can't trust him.
Well, I know you like to blow things up a lot, but I wouldn't because I think that would just put a bigger target on her back. Nobody wants all that drama the first week. They don't want to carry that on.
You might not want to get rid of the big target. You might go after Zay instead. A big physical threat.
And, depending on what the challenge is, I want to call it the AI arena. I forgot what they call it this season. But I'm thinking that Zach will probably win. Not Zach. Zay will probably win. And then it will be Ashley and
the BB Blockbuster.
Yes.
Because we still have the veto and we still have the BB Blockbuster comp.
No, we haven't seen a veto comp yet.
We still have it.
Right.
We haven't seen it yet. So we still got 2 chances for them to get off.
Right. But then again, I don't think Ashley nor Amy are going to get off the block. That's my prediction. I think they're going to be the 2 on the block, and I don't think they will, unless one of their allies wins the veto and takes one of them off.
They're playing with Rachel. I don't think either of them are going home. I think Rachel, she is going to start turning these guys against each other. because this is what she talked about for the Mama Squad. Her and Amy, they're going to turn the guys against each other, and they're going to get their heads in showmances so they stop thinking about the game. And if Amy starts working some magic for Zach, maybe Zach's on Amy's side. They start thinking that maybe Lauren likes, Zay. Maybe we take Zay out. I mean, there's some possibilities here, especially with the love triangle. Maybe you turn these two single guys against each other by having a common interest.
Right.
What do you think we're going to see? Who do you think's going home this week?
I think it's Ashley.
Right now, I think it would be Ashley, but expect the unexpected. It's week 1. There's a lot of game to be played. So I think that things could really get turned upside down, especially given that Amy is in alliance with Rachel, a final 2, and they both love Ashley's energy. I think we might see some stuff happen. I hope so. It'll be exciting. Well, that's it. Big Brother 27. He's episode 2. We'll be back on Thursday with episode 3 and Friday with our first live eviction. That's going to be Thursday night. So we'll be back to talk about that on Friday. Excited for this season?
I am. It's already exciting.
So last week it was Keanu. Last week for me it was Morgan. Has it shifted for you?
Really? I mean, I kind of like Vince better than I did last week. So yeah,
I'm a big Amy fan. I really like Amy. So we'll see. I'm not a big fan of Vince, though. I want Vince to go.
Jimmy to go, and Ashley.
So we'll see what happens. Channel Surfers, thanks for listening. Come on over to our social media. The links are in the comments. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can watch on YouTube. I put little clips up, little teasers on TikTok and Instagram. We have a Facebook page. Come on over, check us out. Come be a Channel Surfer. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you guys for more Big Brother on Thursday. And tomorrow, Dee and I will be back with a 90 Day Fiancé Hunt for Love, continuing that journey. That has been a fun one. All right. We'll see you soon. Laters, grab a life vest.